Cinder has decided to, of her own free will, give up her partial ownership of Gamersupps. That's right, and we'll be talking about it here. So, if you go to Cinder's latest Google Doc, which has a lot of pages to it, in the section "An Overdue Response," she says this: "To show that I stand by everything written here and that I'm sorry for the things I've done wrong, I made a very hard decision. I'm giving up my part ownership position of Gamersupps. I've worked so hard for them since December of 2022, and earning this position was one of the biggest accomplishments of my life. I'm honored they chose to give me the opportunity, and I've been immensely proud to have the title. As sad as I am to do this, I feel the need to protect the company I love, the people that work there, and everyone associated over my own interests. Gamersupps suffered a lot of damage when all of the accusations were made about me, and that fell on my shoulders. This is my responsibility as a part owner, and I don't want any more harm or negativity to come to them by having this position. I didn't have to do this, and I wasn't asked, forced, or coerced into making this decision. There are things more important to me than business. I notified them of my decision in June, and it will take effect at the same time this document is published." Now, if you're wondering when Cinder's Google Doc was published, it was published on October 7th, 2025, and this is the X post that contains Cinder's latest Google Doc, where she says the burden of proof is on the accuser, not the accused. They lied to you. Here's 1,000 pages of proof. And hot dang, there's a lot of proof that debunks a lot of their claims. So I would heavily recommend people to take the time to read it. There's a lot of stuff. And I will say, they do copy and paste the same thing for context, because if you didn't know, and I think you guys can see this, there are multiple sections to this doc. But anyway, the main focus is about the partial ownership that Cinder willingly gave up. Now, there is some context to it. Now, she says it's her own decision. She wasn't coerced to do it, which, respect to that. But there's some more context behind it. As you all know, when the Cinder slander, as I'm calling it now, came out, Shylily made a couple statements regarding that. And here, in the section The Breakdown, around this point of it, on April 29th, 2025, 39 minutes to 26 seconds in, to about 45 minutes, 14 seconds in, on this VOD here, VOD, The Healing Journey Begins, Let's Chat and Play Games Again, there is a link to the YouTube video as well as the timestamp associated with this part regarding what we're about to talk about, which is Shylily recommending that Cinder step down as partial owner and selling her shares. Now, if you want to check out the clip, feel free to do so. I'll also put it in the description below, but that's 6 minutes of something that I don't want to put my time into. So I'll just go ahead and read the transcript here from that segment. So this is what Shylily says. "Okay, so this is pure speculation, okay? Like, pure speculation. This hasn't happened yet, and I am not in a position to talk to Gamersupps about it to begin with either. Right, pure speculation. I highly doubt they would remove a flavor fully. I don't even think they would remove her, who shall not be named, fully to begin with. I'm not sure how much business knowledge any of you guys have, but any amount of partial ownership makes it difficult to just force someone to step down. They can step down willingly, which I highly suggest she does. If she has any ounce of her guilt, regret, and anything, she would do it herself to protect the others, to truly show that she cares about the others that have to forcefully associate with her, alongside her despite the damages she has caused in their careers. Not just morally and emotionally, but also financially. Like, debuts can be expensive. If I had to guess where this is going, I think Gamersupps is kind of forced to wait for her to return. I am pretty sure she has I am certain or hope that she is currently far from the interwebs. So currently there isn't really anything you can do. But if I had to speculate on a few options that could happen if she comes back, surrenders her shares and sells them at a fair market value so she can protect the people who no longer wish to be associated alongside a brand that supports her, that she has once been the face of. Either she does this not only as a sign to show that she can and is bettering herself, and she is making decisions to start undoing some of the hurt by distancing herself from the ones she has hurt, so they no longer have to associate alongside her forcefully, or she does the opposite and we'll see. I don't know, or she simply remains just an affiliate of the brand, not a bigger name, not in anything, she's just part of the affiliation. So I will say this, what Shylily did is abhorrent. It is disgusting, and it is horrible, obscene business etiquette right here. As you all know, Shylily has a 5% share of Gamersupps. She is a partial owner. She has 5% of the shares. Sinder at the time had 10% of the shares. But think about it this way, guys. Shylily, a partial owner, is basically telling another partial owner of that same company that she's a partial owner of to step down. And that's abhorrent business behavior. I asked Google this. Is it good business etiquette to say that another partial owner should step down? And Google says, saying that another partial owner should step down is generally considered poor business etiquette. It is a high-risk, drastic measure that should only be pursued after attempting more collaborative solutions. Starting with this demand can permanently damage relationships and lead to a costly legal battle, particularly if your operating or partnership agreement does not provide a clear path for removal. Now, that's in terms of Shylily saying, hey, I think Sinder should step down. But saying that Sinder should sell her shares, what about that? So I asked Google that question. I asked Google, is it good business etiquette to say that another partial owner should sell their shares? And Google says this, in nearly all circumstances, it is not considered good business etiquette to tell another partial owner they should sell their shares. This action is almost guaranteed to create conflict and potentially trigger a legal dispute unless there is a specific pre-existing legal agreement allowing it. You cannot force another owner to sell their shares. And then they go on to say, forcing a partner out is a complex, high-stakes legal process. Instead of telling them to sell, the proper approach is to initiate a formal process to resolve the underlying issues, following the guidelines set forth in your legal documents. So what Shylily does as a partial owner of Gamersupps is abhorrent and throws mud at the face of the company. It is disgusting business etiquette that should not be tolerated, in my personal opinion, but I don't know what contracts Gamersupps has with Shylily, but what Shylily did here was bad. Very, very horribly bad. Now, going into this as well, Google says, like, they should probably, Google, like, ARA overview basically says they should probably, try to talk about it, like, try and resolve this, not like this, not publicly. That's what I'm getting, understanding, and what I think it's implying. So I went back to this clip here. This is from Shylily VOD, the YouTube channel. The VOD is called Back to Business, We Cooking More Drugs Today or Maybe Try Oblivion, April 2025. If you've seen my other videos, I've used this a lot. And I want to point out something here. It's in regards to, anyone reaching out to Sinder before the docs dropped. So here's what Shylily says when someone asks them, did you contact her privately or something like that?
In her fucking place. People saying, why didn't you handle it private? We did once. We did.
Okay, you heard it from the orca's mouth herself. She said, we did once. However, in Sinder's Google Doc, there is evidence to dictate otherwise. Alright. So, let's see if I have it pulled up. Here it is. Haha. Okay. So, it's in regards to that segment I just played. But here, this picture right here, this shows the DMs to Shylily from Sinder. And so, as you can see, Sinder messaged Shylily on March 28th, 2025. Shylily didn't respond to that. Sinder messaged Shylily at April 2nd, 2025, Shylily didn't respond to that. Sinder messaged Shylily on April 11th, 2025, Shylily didn't respond to that. The final message that Sinder sent to Shylily was on April 25th, 2025, a day before the docs dropped. Sinder says, hey, Lily, is everything okay? I know I've been told you aren't the best with messages, and I get we're both super busy with things all the time, but I kind of feel like I've upset you in some way and wanted to ask you directly. And no message from Shylily found. Shylily lied to literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of viewers regarding this. As you can see here, these are the DMs that Sinder sent to Shylily, and the last message she sent to Shylily before the docs dropped was, hey, is there something wrong? Did I upset you? Shylily ignored Sinder. So what Shylily said in this clip here about how, like, oh, did you handle it privately? it seems that it's potentially 99% probably a freaking lie. Also, I'd like to put this out here. In addition to the proof that Sinder provided that Shylily did not respond to Sinder, because Sinder was the mature one here and wanted to handle things privately, Sinder also provided this in the breakdown section. Who was involved before anything was public? She states Nanolis, Shylily, Bao, Numi, the other 3 Girly Pops, Buff Pup, and the other 3 Vichibon members, Sacramore, and then says, of these 12 people, no one contacted me before everything was made public, and only one of them reached out to me right afterwards. So, if we were to allegedly assume, or not allegedly assume, if we were to assume that Sinder's words are true, then Shylily lied. She lied to not only you, she didn't just lie to me, she lied to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of her own viewers that that they try to handle this privately. That is a bald-faced lie. So, yeah. And then, not only that, let's talk about, this. So, remember how Sinder said that there was a lot of damages to Gamersupps, and then on this VOD that I talked about earlier, Shylily was like, oh, Sinder should step down from ownership, should sell their shares. Here's Sinder's response to that little segment that I read earlier. I want to make this clear. I reached my decision to give up my part ownership myself, and Shylily had nothing to do with my choice. But Shylily said this as if I needed to repent for the lies she and others told about me. Gamersupps had nothing to do with anything that happened, but that didn't stop Shylily from telling her viewers it was what she wanted me to do. If Shylily really cared about the impact my part ownership would have on Gamersupps, she would have considered handling things privately with me instead of being the driving force in making all of these lies public, losing the company hundreds of thousands of dollars. She probably knew all of this controversy about me could be a way to push me out of the company, all while keeping her own hands clean. It wouldn't look good for Shylily to go after the other Gamersupps owner after all. Let me highlight this to show you what I'm reading. 2 days after that stream, on May 1st, 2025, Shylily couldn't help herself and made an announcement in the VCard production server where the staff VTubers and artists developed the game, notifying everyone. She chose to involve the over 70 people in this server in what happened personally. I don't have a screenshot of the Discord notification or the full message because it was deleted shortly after it was made. However, I have a screenshot of my notification history from that day when it happened, showing a part of what she said. May 1st, 2025, this is Sinder's Discord. And here, 11:59 a.m. on May 1st, 2025. And I assume it's on Eastern Standard Time because that's Sinder's time zone. Shylily, hey crew, I know it's been a terrible fucking week. I hope you're all holding up. I'm not good with words and drama and emotions and all that business, but just wanted to say I feel sorry for you guys dealing with stuff that is none of your... And then Sinder basically fills in the gap. I feel sorry for you guys dealing with stuff that is none of your business or concern. In this speculation, if I assume. If Shylily wasn't trying to get everyone in this server involved, then no one would have to be dealing with this stuff, like she said. Here is the Discord channel it was in, VCard partner, set to updates. Here is the proof of the date of the screenshot. And she shows it. She shows her receipts to the best of her ability. And then at some point, she even took the time to go back and delete her reply to my part ownership announcement, which is shown here. So... yeah, Shylily didn't handle this privately. She literally displayed horrible business etiquette. So, yeah, it is a lot to process, but I thought I'd let you guys know that, yeah, Sinder is no longer a partial ownership of Gamersupps, and that Shylily displayed disgusting, obscene, horrible business etiquette for the public in representation of the company Gamersupps. But that's what I personally see in my personal biased opinion. Now, they could have handled this privately. They really could have. But based on Sinder's words, and if we were to believe they are true, it seems that Shylily decided to make it public and not handle it privately. And I've shown the DMs between Sinder and Shylily, where Shylily obviously ghosted Sinder. So Cinder did try to handle things privately, but Shylily ignored her. So, seems that Shylily has lied to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of viewers about reaching out to Cinder privately about this. Okay, that's what I think. But let me know what you guys think. I am human after all, and I make mistakes, and as you can tell, I am heavily biased in this video. So, everything I used in the video will be in the description below, and I encourage you, the viewer, to come to your own independent conclusions, separate from mine.